This is News 4, Detroit.
Good evening, a double bottom tank.
We're for Detroit.
Tonight from Howell and the North Bureau, Dearborn in the West Bureau, from the Detroit Bureau, Bloomfield Hills in the North Bureau, and Windsor. With Wes Sargentson, the news.
Good evening. All the bickering and confusion in Congress is over. The Senate voted today to approve the Second Panama Canal Treaty, which...
News 4 Detroit with John Blunt and Jennifer Moore, Don Shane with sports, and Larry Shannon with the weather.
Good evening. Detroit police don't know why it happened. This morning's shooting at a West Side motorcycle club that left 3 people dead and 6 others wounded. But police are holding 3 people in custody, though no one has been formally charged.
News 4 at 6 with Margie Reedy, Jack Legoff and business editor Jennifer Moore, Al Ackerman with sports, Brian Tegland in Weather Watch, and the News 4 team. News 4 tonight with Mort Grimm and Carmen Harlan, Eli Zerrett with sports, Mal Sillers in Weather Watch, and the News 4 team.
Good evening, and it's a very good evening for Detroit Tiger fans. The losing streak is over. The magic number is lower. The Tigers won tonight, beating Baltimore 1-0.
News 4 Nightbeat with Mort Grimm and Carmen Harlan, Bernie Smilovitz with sports, Brian Tegland in Weather Watch, and the News 4 night team.
They say the killing has to stop. Kids should be able to walk safely on the streets and go to school and play. One group tonight is doing something. They're determined to save our kids. Good evening. The entire nation tonight is reading about Detroit.
Come on, we're the best. Only on Channel
4. News 4 at 5 with Mort Grimm and Carmen Harlan, Bernie Smilovitz and Chuck Gatica.
Good evening. It laid waste to Jamaica. It buffeted the Caribbean. And now Hurricane Gilbert has come ashore to blast its winds, pour down its rains, and bring misery before it dies sometime this weekend.
With Rich Make and Margie Reedy, Bernie Smilovitz and Chuck Gatica. Now, News 4 at 6 with Mort Grimm and Carmen Harlan, Al Ackerman, Chuck Gatica, and business editor Jennifer Moore.
Good evening. The University of Michigan basketball team is coming home tonight with a prize only one college can claim each year.
News 4 Nightbeat with Mort Grimm and Carmen Harlan, Bernie Smilovitz and Chuck Gatica.
This was not a normal day in the San Francisco Bay Area. The aftershocks continued from Tuesday's killer earthquake. Tonight...
News 4 Nightbeat with Dan Mountney, Nona Barbie, Scott Wally, and Paul Long.
Come on, we're the best. Only on Channel 4.
Tonight, Michigan Democratic campaign coffers are swelling with new donations from a big annual fundraiser. Tonight, bus travelers across the country remain stranded as the Greyhound strike continues. Tonight, the Red Wings play with determination, slapping in goal after goal to solidify their playoff position.
News 4 Nightbeat with Dan Mountney, Jennifer Moore, Paul Long, and Fred McLeod.
Good evening.
Just have 2 more hours to go, and it still hasn't really hit hard.
Tonight, Detroit's police force shrinks. Hundreds of cops make their final roll call.
Tonight, a look at who's trashing Detroit.
Tonight, Eastern the Gulf and around the world.
News 4 Nightbeat with Dan Mountain, Christy Kruger, Fred McLeod, and Paul Long.
Good evening. They took an oath to protect and defend the citizens of Detroit, but the city of Detroit can no longer pay them. So tomorrow, 300 cops will turn in their badges and join the ranks of the unemployed.
I'm Mort Krim.
I'm Carmen Harlan.
These are the stories breaking tonight. A shootout, 2 Detroit officers critically wounded.
Verdicts are reached in the Tar murder trial.
Michigan fires leave at least 8 dead.
Now, from Michigan's best news team, this is Newsbeat.
Good evening. There was tragedy and bloodshed on a busy city.
I'm Rich Make.
I'm Margie Reedy.
These are the stories breaking tonight. A neighborhood landing for a huge chunk of a plane.
This woman talks about a crash that sends her flying.
An obsessed fan barricaded in an actress's home.
Now, from Michigan's best news team, this is Newsbeat.
Hello, everybody. I'm Rich Make with Margie Reedy. Mort and Carmen have the night off.
I, David Koresh, agree upon the broadcasting of this tape to come out peacefully.
Tonight, have police been double-crossed by a cult leader?
Tonight, keep an extra tight grip on your bags when you pass through this airport.
Tonight, unmasking a monster, Leslie Allen Williams tells why he killed.
She had saw where I lived. I had no choice.
News 4 Nightbeat with Mort Krim and Carmen Harlan, Bernie Smilovitz and Chuck Gatica.
Good evening. Once again, there are indications the religious cult standoff in Texas could be ending. This evening, there's been a flurry of activity near the barricaded compound, but federal agents have been tricked before.
You're watching the Newsbeat at 6 with Emery King and Ruth Spencer, Van Earl Wright Sports, and Chuck Gaidica's Big Picture Forecast.
This is the Nightbeat with Mort Krim, Carmen Harlan, Van Earl Wright Sports, and Chuck Gaidica's Big Picture Forecast.
Good evening. Our big story tonight is a breaking story.
This is the Nightbeat with Dan Mountney, Asha Blake, Steve Garagiola Sports, and Paul Long's Big Picture Forecast.
And now, with Mort Krim and Carmen Harlan, this is Newsbeat at 5.
The people at the house, because they said they didn't know anything about it, and they knew all about it.
Now, from the award-winning Newsbeat team, this is Newsbeat at 6.
This is where a female jogger says she was thrown to the ground and fondled by a naked man. Good evening, I'm Dan Mountney, and tonight for Emery King.
And I'm Ruth Spencer.
The big story is a dramatic rescue at a concrete company's mixing site. A worker got trapped in a hopper of crushed limestone, and hours of rescue work pays off when he's dug out and carried to safety. Making news now this Friday. Police investigating the murder of a fast food manager are following up new information from a series of recent crimes. And believe it or not, this ball can help women give birth to healthy, bouncing babies. You'll see how it works.
It's all right now on the Newsbeat at 5, where local news comes first.
This Friday, the 13th, was very unlucky for a worker at Washtenaw County Cement Company. He fell and got trapped in a hopper filled with crushed limestone. Now, the careful rescue work took hours, but it ended with good news. That worker is recovering tonight. Good evening.
It's all right now on the Newsbeat at 5, where local news comes first.
Good afternoon. The big story is an incomplete story. Andrew.
From the award-winning Newsbeat team, this is the Newsbeat at 6.
You're watching Channel 4, WDIV, and this is the Nightbeat now, where local news comes first.
An apartment fire near Hamtramck injures 2 people and puts several families out on the streets.
You're watching Channel 4 WDIV, and this is the Nightbeat Now, where local news comes first. Live from Detroit's news leader, you're watching WDIV Channel 4, where local news comes first.
Former Michigan State football player Demetrius Underwood recovering this morning. He was found on a Lansing sidewalk with a serious neck wound. We'll have an update straight ahead.
Live from Detroit's news leader, you're watching WDIV Channel 4, where local news comes first.
You're looking at live pictures of your big story tonight, a stubborn fire still burning out of control near Metro Beach. Good evening. Firefighters have been battling the blaze for the past 6 hours.
You're watching the Nightbeat with Carmen Harlan, Devin Skillian, Chuck Gatica with Big Picture Weather, Bernie Smilovitz with sports, and good health with Lila Lazarus. This is Channel 4, where local news comes first. Live from Detroit's news leader, you're watching WDIV Local 4, where local news comes first. Now, Local First News at... Live from Detroit's news leader, you're watching WDIV Local 4, where local news comes first. Now, Local First News at 11.
Good evening. I'm Devin Skillian, live in Salt Lake City, where the Olympic torch has arrived. It is
live from Detroit's news leader. It's 5 a.m. And this is Local 4, where local news comes first. With Steve Gargiola, Sean Gables, Eric Wilson, Tracy Gary, Jill Washburn, and Chopper 4, and Detroit's #1 news team. This is Local 4. Local First News at noon begins now.
A raging fire destroys several Grosse Pointe Park businesses. The question this noon is, why did the businesses burn? Good afternoon. I'm Ruth Spencer.
And I'm Rhonda Walker. Thanks for joining us. Lila is off this noon.
Live from Detroit's news leader, it's 5 o'clock, and this is Local 4, where local news comes first. With Carmen Harlan, Devin Skillian, Chuck Gatica, Bernie Smilovitz, and Detroit's #1 news team. Local 4 News is everywhere. Now, Local 4 News at 5:30.
We begin with a breaking story in East Point. Police say a man in a truck may have a pipe bomb.
Live from Detroit's news leader, it's 6 o'clock, and this is Local 4, where local news comes first. With Carmen Harlan, Devin Skillian, Chuck Gatica, Bernie Smilovitz, and Detroit's #1 news team. Local 4 News is everywhere. Now, Local 4 News at 6. Live from Detroit's news leader, it's 11 o'clock, and this is Local 4.
Local 4 News is everywhere at 11. The entire Metro Detroit region still under a winter storm warning. Right now, live pictures from Wayne County. And the snow continues to fall in Oakland County. We have everything you need to know to get out the door on time in the morning. Good evening, everyone. I'm Karen Drew.
Good evening. I'm Steve Gargiola. It got a little dark here, and I apologize. We're dealing with weather conditions outside, and this little bit of mist just blew out one of our lights.
Live from Detroit's news leader, it's 11 o'clock, and this is Local 4, where local news comes first. With Carmen Harlan, Devin Skillian, Chuck Gatica, Bernie Smilovitz, and Detroit's #1 news team. Local 4 News is everywhere. Now, Local 4 News at 11.
From the Power of 4. Local 4 News at 5:30 starts right now.
And right now, a mother is being investigated after her children are found all alone crying in a Canton park. It's a story you saw only on 4. Police say the children were 3 and 5 years of age. They were found alone at Griffin Park about 2 o'clock this morning.
From the Power of 4. Local 4 News at 11 starts right now.
The future of Ford. The glass house empty at this hour, but tonight we know what's in store for thousands.
from the Power of 4 and clickondetroit.com. Local 4 News first at 4 starts right now.
And good afternoon, I'm Ruth Spencer. It looks like we've got a beautiful weekend coming up, so let's get you going with the latest weather and traffic.
You're watching Local 4, the home of clickondetroit.com. Local 4 News Morning starts right now.
A Boy Scout camp torn apart by a tornado this morning. Families are reunited after these deadly tornadoes touched down. Right now, 40 people are recovering from injuries and 4 people died. Reaction from those inside the camp when the storm struck just ahead.
And the lives of Michigan's children taking a change for the better. While you slept, the new Kids Count report is released. And while care is improving in some areas, there is work needed elsewhere.
Good morning to you on this Thursday. Thank you so much for starting off your morning with us. I'm Rhonda Walker. Time now, 6 o'clock.
I'm Rod Maloney, sitting in for Guy Gordon. Thanks for joining us on Local 4 News Morning.
You're watching Local 4, the home of clickondetroit.com. Local 4 News, first at 4, starts right now. You're watching Local 4, home of clickondetroit.com. WDIV Local 4 News at 5 starts now. You're watching Local 4, the home of clickondetroit.com. Local 4 News at 5:30 starts right now.
A hallway hero. This young woman is alive tonight thanks to one of her classmates who came to her rescue at school.
It was a dramatic scene at Roseville High School. A student was choking until one of her classmates stepped in.
You're watching Local 4, the home of clickondetroit.com. Local 4 News at 6 starts right now.
He was just starting the 2nd grade when his dad left for Iraq. Today, this 3rd grader can finally stop counting down the days till his favorite soldiers return. Good evening. The wait is over for one local family after a very long year.
You're watching Local 4, home of clickondetroit.com. WDIV Local 4 News at 6 starts now.
A major movie studio deal is done tonight, and that means lights, camera, and jobs, a whole bunch of them. Thanks for joining us tonight. The studio is coming to Allen Park, but the most exciting part is thousands of skilled workers will be hired.
And we're told people right here in Metro Detroit who were laid off will get the first crack at those jobs.
You're watching Local 4, home of clickondetroit.com. WDIV Local 4 News at 11 starts now. You're watching Local 4, home of clickondetroit.com. WDIV Local 4 News today at 6 starts now.
Fighting for his freedom, a local doctor facing fraud charges is hoping to be released from jail, but he won't be the only one heading to court today.
Caught on camera, a burglar captured on home surveillance video lurking through this house. We have the video that police want you to see.
Hey, hey, Hockey Town, the Red Wings are back. They're kicking off a new season, and it begins tonight right there at Joe Louis Arena. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Wednesday. Thank you so much for waking up with us. I'm Rhonda Walker.
And I'm broadcast me.
You're watching Local 4, home of clickondetroit.com. WDIV Local 4 News at 6 starts now. You're watching Local 4, home of clickondetroit.com. WDIV Local 4 News at 11 starts now.
Families feud. Local 4 in the middle of a wild scene when relatives of a murder victim clash with a suspect's family. But first tonight, breaking news about Joe Paterno, the former Penn State coach, reportedly taking a turn for the worse. Good to have you with us here tonight. Earlier reports that the legendary coach passed away are not right.
Live from the home of Click on Detroit, Local 4 News at 6 starts now.
A day of delays and disappointment. Michigan lawmakers still working on language to come up with a plan to improve our roads. Will we get a deal? We're live in Lansing.
MPG mistake. Ford Motor Company admitting several of its vehicles do not live up to the mileage promise, and now 200,000 customers could get a check from Ford coming in the mail.
Mother murdered.
A warrant filed and a car found in the case of a Detroit mother who was killed, but her 2 young children still have yet to be found. Good evening, and thanks for joining us for Local 4 News at 6. There are several new elements to get to in this developing story.
Live from the home of Click on Detroit, Local 4 News at 11 starts now.
The storms came through fast and hit hard. A lot of families in the dark tonight.
The severe weather has left a huge mess to clean up.
That line of...
Live from the home of Click on Detroit, Local 4 News at 6 starts now.
Deadly shooting and attempted robbery of an armored truck leads to gunfire, and now the search for another suspect on the run.
Cost of cleanup. Warren Mayor Jim Fouts says the damage from the floods is far worse than first thought.
Back up. Come on, get back.
Bounty hunt gone bad. Cameras roll as the situation gets out of control, and that tops our news at 6 o'clock. Good evening. The situation going from bad to worse in just a matter of seconds.
It happened really.
Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at 11 starts now.
Cracking down. Tonight, one local mayor who rides with the cops into neighborhoods, making sure no one is breaking the law with fireworks. And oh, this is the way summer should feel. We enjoyed a perfect 4th of July, and we're just getting warmed up.
Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News Today at 5 starts now.
Developing from overnight, one person is dead, 2 others have been injured after an ex-boyfriend goes on a shooting rampage.
Funding fight. More money is approved for Detroit Public Schools, but some say that the plan still does more harm than good.
And it is finally Friday, and it's a fabulous Friday in fact, with lots of sunshine ahead. But what about your weekend? Yeah, we need to talk about that. We'll do that just ahead.
We are so close to the weekend as well. We made it to Friday, everybody. Good morning. Yeah. Thanks for waking up with us. I'm Rhonda Walker.
And I'm Evrod Kassman. We got a lot of stuff going on this weekend.
Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News Today at 6 starts now.
Good finally Friday morning, everybody. Tracking a little bit of wet weather to the north and to the west. Tracking some spotty Friday and maybe even Saturday rain chances.
Plus, product shift. Fiat Chrysler making a move that could affect thousands of local jobs.
Is with humility, determination, and boundless confidence in America's promise that I accept your nomination.
Hillary Clinton officially makes history accepting the Democratic nomination for the President of the United States. Big milestone for her last night. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for waking up with us, and happy Friday.
That's the best way to say it.
Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at noon starts now.
Shots fired in Midtown over a cigarette. A gunman opens fire on a man outside of a pharmacy, and now police are trying to find him.
Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News First at 4 starts now.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Kimberly Gill in today for Karen Drew. Police have been scrambling all...
Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at 5 starts now.
No deal. Metro Detroit's plan for a rapid transit system hits a major roadblock, why it might not even end up on the ballot.
Decision 2016. We are live in Philadelphia as Hillary Clinton is set to close out the convention, all while Mike Pence makes his first trip to Metro Detroit as Donald Trump's VP. We are live there too.
Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at 6 starts now.
An 11-year-old girl in Hazel Park ran away from home and ended up spending the night at a stranger's home. But this story has a happy ending. Hear why the chief is praising this Good Samaritan.
Everybody out. The evacuation of a local junior high leads to the arrest of several students.
Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at 11 starts now.
A vicious dogfight caught on tape. What the owner says about his dogs and what police are doing coming up.
Local 4 News begins right now with a breaking news alert.
Major health concerns in Metro Detroit tonight, where more than 200 children may have been exposed to bacterial meningitis at a popular day camp in Oakland County.
Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News Today at 6 starts now.
Closing in, now just hours away from Hurricane Michael making landfall in Florida's Gulf Coast with its eye on Panama City. The storm now a Category 4. Thousands have been evacuated from the Florida's Panhandle, but some remain in the storm's path. We're live from Florida, where the wind and rain has already arrived.
And another retail giant on the verge of bankruptcy. New from overnight, Sears set to file for bankruptcy as soon as this week.
Banished from the booth, Tiger broadcasters Mario Impemba and Rod Allen fired after 15 years of working together. The two are going their separate ways, the falling out that led to their firing.
Well, good Wednesday morning, everybody. We like to call it Friday Eve around here, but we are...
Friday Eve already, and it's only Wednesday?
Friday Eve, excuse me. I get my Eves confused sometimes. You know how that goes. But we are watching Hurricane Michael, of course, down on the Gulf Coast. We also have...
Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at noon starts now.
Another sunny day ruined by the bitter cold. With spring less than a week away, will we see any warm-up?
Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News First at 4 starts now.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Karen Drew. When you see the video of these mangled...
Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at 5 starts now.
He ran out and tried to save a life. We're learning what one Michigan lawmaker did just moments after a train full of GOP lawmakers slammed into a trash truck.
But we're going to begin with two big stories on the MSU Larry Nassar crisis. Nassar back in court today, new accusers coming forward. That happening as students stage a sit-in following the appointment of John Engler as interim president of the university. Great to have you with us today here at 5.
Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at 6 starts now.
Attack at the airport. New details emerging about the troubled past few months of the accused in the case.
Just one day after declaring a state of emergency, Governor Snyder announces he will visit the Fraser sinkhole.
Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at 11 starts now.
7 days of emotions. First, a Melvindale man vanishes. His family desperately searches for him, and then a worker makes a disturbing discovery.
In the same week, police arrest someone in the murder of David Carter. Tonight, his family came to reflect.
Local 4 News begins right now with a breaking news alert.
You're looking live right now where there is a heavy police presence in this wooded area in Oakland County. Good day.
Live from downtown Detroit, home of WDIV and Click on Detroit. Local 4 News Today at 4:30 starts now.
A flooding crisis in mid-Michigan. Thousands of families spending the night away from their homes and many in shelters unsure of when they'll be able to return.
4 to 5 days at least before the water recedes.
A closer look at the damage, revealing it could take quite some time for this community to recover. Welcome to Thursday, everybody. Thank you for waking up with us on Local 4 News today on this 21st day of May. I'm Rhonda Walker.
Live from downtown Detroit, home of WDIV and Click on Detroit. Local 4 News Today at 5 starts now.
More testing available for the COVID-19 antibody, and efforts to slow the virus are also expanding.
More money. In fact, we are talking about more than $3 trillion in a new relief package.
And coming back together, plans are in place to hold public masses again.
Live from downtown Detroit, home of WDIV and Click on Detroit. Local 4 News Today at 6 starts now.
Good morning, everybody. It's Friday, March 27th. I am Nick Monticelli.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Sandra Ollie.
Live from downtown Detroit, home of WDIV and Click on Detroit. Local 4 News at noon starts now.
He's on the other side of the law. The Macomb County prosecutor goes before a judge today in his own corruption case. What Eric Smith told the judge.
Live from downtown Detroit, home of WDIV and Click on Detroit. Local 4 News First at 4 starts now.
Good afternoon. Good to have you with us. I'm Devin Skillia and Karen Drew working from home right now.
Live from downtown Detroit, home of WDIV and Click on Detroit. Local 4 News at 5 starts now.
With quite a few new developments in the fight against the coronavirus here at home and around the world. As the case count goes up, the area's largest hospital system announces major layoffs. While we're also learning lawmakers have now struck a deal to try to help save small businesses on the brink.
Live from downtown Detroit, home of WDIV and Click on Detroit. Local 4 News at 5:30 starts now.
Speeders thought they were getting a free pass. Boy, were they wrong. Michigan State Police are out in force, making sure you obey the law. During the
Live from downtown Detroit, home of WDIV and Click on Detroit. Local 4 News at 6 starts now.
Shooting for the stars, Macomb County leaders make a bid to bring something new to Selfridge Air Base.
football in the spring just doesn't sound right, but it's one of the ideas on the table to keep student athletes safe.
The owner of a local banquet hall says he made a mistake on social media by sharing racist posts criticizing the Black Lives Matter movement. Good to have you with us for Local 4 News at 6. Gary
Live from downtown Detroit, home of WDIV and Click on Detroit. Local 4 News at 11 starts now.
Storms are moving into our area overnight, and they could be serious. Paul is tracking what we can expect.
Local 4 News starts now with a breaking news alert.
Breaking news is just in for Detroit's east side, where a man in a wheelchair has been hit and killed while crossing the street. Happened at Harper and Park Drive, that's just north of I-94. Police said the driver who hit the man did stop and in fact has been cooperating with investigators. It does not appear the man in the wheelchair was at a crosswalk when he was hit. We'll keep following as the investigation continues.
Tallying up the votes, staff at Eastern Michigan University have been voting on a new contract this week, and today we're expecting the results. Plus, what's at stake if professors pass on that deal?
Plus, vandalize again. For the second time in weeks, an anti-abortion counseling center is targeted. The messages left behind.
And that was fast. It's only been fall for a few hours, less than 12 hours, and it certainly feels like it already. In fact, did we drop a degree? We were at 44 earlier, now it's at 43. Kind of a chilly start for Metro Detroit.
Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at 6 a.m. starts now.
Good Friday morning, everybody. And you know, it's really hard to complain about the temperature drop because technically on the calendar it is fall and temperatures have fallen. It's a normal thing.
Fall, let us know. I'm here.
Right.
Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at noon starts now.
First fear, now frustration. After a stabbing in Fraser leaves one child dead, 2 others were injured. And the community is now demanding even more answers.
Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News First at 4 starts now.
Good afternoon, I'm Karen Drew. First at 4, the parents of an infant in Dearborn are charged with
Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at 5 starts now.
We begin tonight with a battle over reproductive rights in Michigan unfolding all day in a Pontiac courtroom. The hearing is wrapped up and the judge in the case says his decision will come tomorrow morning at 10:30.
Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at 6 starts now.
Video surfaces on social media of a disturbing incident involving Stevenson High School football players in Sterling Heights. Utica Community Schools saying tonight the
Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at 11 starts now.
They bought these properties for their $1 million views. Well, now it's deteriorated into an awful smelling swampland. We'll tell you what's happening along this once pristine waterfront.
Struggling for nearly a year for accountability and transparency, tonight the parents of the teenager charged in the Oxford school shooting now asking prosecutors to cease sending updates to Oxford parents. Good to have you with us at 11. That is one of several.
Local 4 News starts now with a breaking news alert.
Breaking tonight, the University of Michigan settling a lawsuit with more than 1,000 victims of the late Dr. Robert Anderson. Anderson worked at the university from the 1960s through 2003.